Hello again, Great Danes. In this lesson, we'll look at the importance of gases and the atmosphere. But first, a quick recap of our previous lesson, where we looked at the composition of the atmosphere. Now, the atmosphere contains gases, liquids, and solids. But if you look at the gases specifically, where you would have, your permanent or your variable gases, your trace gases, let's look at a quick comparison again. You have nitrogen, which is the highest concentration, it's 78%. It's used by plants. You have oxygen, 20%. We can't live without oxygen. It's essential for life. We need oxygen to breathe. We need it for respiration. Otherwise, we cannot survive. You have argon, it's a non-reactive gas. You have carbon dioxide, essential in photosynthesis. Plants need it to be able to grow. And you have ozone. So ozone absorbs all the harmful ultraviolet radiation. Then you have your other substances. So you have your trace gases, your hydrogen, your neon, your helium, your methane. You have water vapor, and this varies in amounts across the earth. Then you have your solid particles, your dust, your soot, your other pollutants. So these are the things you will find within the atmosphere. Your solids, your liquids, and your gases are all present in the atmosphere. But now, why is the atmosphere in and of itself so important? And it's because it allows us to experience different weather conditions. But now it is important that you, as a grade 10 learner, are able to distinguish the difference between weather and climate. You need to understand this difference. You need to understand what the difference is between weather and climate. So weather is the conditions that you experience like today, on a specific day, in that moment. That is your weather. Okay, so it's a short-term state of the atmosphere. It's not permanent, it's a short-term state. Okay, and it can change within minutes or hours. You can have a sunny start to the day and you could have a thunderstorm in the afternoon. That's your weather. It's these sudden changes, this temporary state of the atmosphere. But then you have climate. Now, climate refers to the average weather conditions over many years. So it's a long-term pattern of weather. It's a very long-term pattern of weather, where you look at what happened throughout different ages and years and things over a long period of time. That's your climate. So weather, short, temporary, on the day, climate over many years. That's the difference between your weather and your climate. And it's very important that you're able to distinguish between these two terms. Now, also within the atmosphere, there are different winds. They transport your hot air, your cold air, and they transport the moisture to different parts of the globe. So wind will transport the hot and cold air and the moisture to different parts of the world, the globe. That's how they transfer moisture and heat, etc. Also, some layers of the atmosphere absorb dangerous radiation from the sun, such as your X-rays and your ultraviolet rays. So the ozone is very, very important. That ozone layer protects us. We will not be able to survive without an ozone layer. So it's very, very important because it protects us. We'll look at effects of ozone depletion in more detail. But also, you will find that the atmosphere also acts as a blanket around the Earth. It protects us from extremely high temperatures, and the gases in the lower layers of the atmosphere are essential for life on Earth. Again, refer to the importance of gases. So again, nitrogen is very important as it is essential for plants to grow. There you can see the nitrogen cycle. Plants need nitrogen to grow. It is essential for plant growth. Then oxygen. This must be the most important gas of all. I mean, without this, we would not survive. It is essential for our survival. We need it to breathe. Plants need it to grow. Animals need it to breathe. It is undoubtedly the most important gas in the atmosphere. So it is important. We need the atmosphere to live. That is a fact. We need it to live. The atmosphere is extremely important, along with all its various components. Then you have carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a colorless, odorless gas, but it's essential for life on Earth because it's necessary for plant photosynthesis. It's extremely necessary for that. And now, let's look at the ozone layer in a bit more detail. You see, the stratosphere is a region of the Earth's atmosphere between roughly 15 and 50 kilometers above the surface of the Earth, and it's a crucial component in the Earth's environment because of the protective ozone layer that blocks 95 to 97% of the solar ultraviolet radiation, which is found in the stratosphere. So it blocks a massive amount, and again, this is then located in the stratosphere. So ozone itself, which is O3, is made up of 3 atoms of oxygen, and it's a relatively unstable molecule found in the Earth's atmosphere. And most ozone, though, is concentrated in the atmosphere below a 50-kilometer height, again in the stratosphere. Although it represents only a tiny fraction of the atmosphere, I mean, it can be seen only as a trace gas. Ozone is crucial for life on Earth because it absorbs the biologically harmful UV radiation. So as the sun enters, that incoming solar radiation, the UV rays, the X-rays, all of that is absorbed so that we can actually live on Earth. But now you may ask, so what exactly is ozone? We hear about ozone, we hear about the O3, but what is ozone? So you see, ozone is a gas that is found, as stated again, mainly in the stratosphere, between 15 and 30 kilometers, so below the 50-kilometer mark. But take note of this. Any thinning of the ozone layer allows more radiation to reach the Earth's surface. So that is a problem because the thinning of the ozone layer will result in harmful effects on us, on crops, on animals, on life in general. So the more this ozone layer thins, and you've heard of the hole in the ozone layer, as that expands, it is detrimental to our health, and there are various effects to it. But interestingly though, ozone is continually produced and destroyed as part of the natural processes in the stratosphere. However, adding chemicals and stuff to it makes that process unnatural, and you will find that sometimes now ozone is not produced at the same rate at which it is destroyed. That causes that rift, that hole, that thinning of the ozone layer, which then affects us and impacts us here on Earth. So if you look here in terms of ozone damage, you have the stratosphere there, where it says in this region ozone protects us from the sun's harmful UV radiation. But note this, if ozone were to be found in the troposphere, it will damage our lungs as well as the plants. So ozone is not found in the troposphere. It is not found in the troposphere. As much as it protects us, we cannot breathe ozone. It will in fact harm us. So what causes ozone depletion? First cause is CFCs that are released into the atmosphere. So CFCs are found in freezers, in aerosol cans, and also in certain plastic forms. We also cause ozone depletion through the release of chemical pollutants by industries, then also halons and methane also cause ozone depletion. Now, this active chlorine, this chlorofluorocarbons, these CFCs, are the primary source of chlorine in the stratosphere. These CFCs are transported to the polar areas, such as Antarctica, where they rest on the stratospheric ice clouds. Chlorine atoms are released when the UV rays shine on these ice clouds. Now, what will the effects of ozone depletion be? And it is extremely important that you know these effects for your upcoming exams and tests. So the first thing is there will be skin cancer, an increase in skin cancer, development of cataracts, global warming, a negative impact on crop production. There will be increases in the mutation rates in DNA, sunburn. The rate of photosynthesis in plants will be reduced, and also there will be an increase in the amount of fog that is encountered on Earth. So these are the effects of ozone depletion. So now you also need to be able to provide strategies or ways of reducing ozone depletion. So what can be done to reduce ozone depletion? Use ozone-friendly products. Protect your skin from the strong sunlight. Use sunscreen and protective clothing. Remove the CFCs from old fridges before they are scrapped to ensure that those CFCs are not released into the atmosphere. Then eliminate the use of plastic foam packaging, which has been produced using a process known as gas blowing. So eliminate the use of these plastic foam packaging. So it's very important that you are able to relay these strategies. Maybe there's more you can think of, but you must be able to mention the effects of ozone depletion as well as ways of reducing ozone depletion. So now we've spoken about ozone depletion, the effects, ways of reducing it, but it is also a term known as ozone balance. So over the Earth's lifetime, natural processes have regulated the balance of ozone in the stratosphere. So as long as ozone is being created at the same rate that it is being destroyed, the total amount of ozone will remain the same. That is what is known as ozone balance.